I received your letter today that you wrote on July 18th, 2013. Mr. Lynn Luker, you are some storyteller. Uh, Mr. Luker, I want you to be able to show that the document that I'm going to receive and show to you, because Mr. Luker, I'm going to request a hearing. I'm going to request a review on the Idaho State Bar's findings on your behalf with this some storytelling letter that you wrote, Mr. Lynn Luker, in regards to my complaint to the Idaho State Bar. It doesn't say anything on this that this is confidential. Maybe this part's confidential because this says confidential, which the paperwork on this is different than the rest of the paper. So to me, what you wrote, Mr. Lynn Luker, isn't confidential. This says personal and confidential right up here. So I guess this isn't what I can show. So it's quite a few pages, but I guess they found in favor of Lynn Luker. I ain't read it all, but I don't need to. I already know what they did. Again, Lynn Luker's running for re-election. Mr. Lynn Luker, what you wrote in this, to me, is not confidential. It does not say confidential on the outside. It doesn't say anything. Lynn Luker, in this you're saying that I've threatened you. I don't know, Mr. Luker. You tell me what this letter and all this means. And you are talking about my Social Security in here too, Mr. Luker. So what's going on there? Are you defending yourself also in regards to how you did quit on my Social Security? And when you talk about in here about this so-called let me get it to it, because again, there's nothing in here that says it's confidential. Your attorney's brief on your motion for approval of attorney lien. But you don't talk about certain, you don't talk about the dates really. You're going over the dates, Mr. Luker. You know that. Yeah, you do know that. Let's see here. Mr. Luker, what I'm going to do is, you do send this letter of December 29th of 2010. You do use that. But the way that you're using it, Mr. Luker, because you're really trying to make me look like I'm a loser. But isn't it reality, Mr. Luker? Why I got upset with you, Mr. Luker, and you quit is because Social Security did contact me before you quit, wanted the documents to be sent to them, and I needed a copy of them. And I was wanting to know why Miss Sandy Basket wasn't at the hearing, because I did win a subpoena when I knew, the last I knew. But isn't it, Mr. Luker, of some of your filings that you did without my knowledge? Now, yeah, that's why but anyway, Mr. Luker. But what about the letter that I sent to you, Mr. Luker, on December 27th of 2008? I mean, of 2010. December 27th, 2010. I faxed you a letter. And holy behold, over all this time, I also learned what a confirmation sheet is. And because, Lynn Luker, of the confirmation sheet that I have, in regards to that letter that I sent to you, clearly show, yes, did the commission grant you to withdraw? And it was granted on the 23rd. Yes. Mr. Lynn Luker, we never spoke again until we spoke again on the 27th on the phone. In order for you, whatever, I had to send you a letter asking you to come back as my attorney, and that I would close my Social Security disability. You're leaving that letter out, aren't you, Mr. Luker? Because I don't see it in here, which should be right here between the 29th and the 23rd, when you were granted to withdraw on December 23rd of 2010. Who's really the idiot here? And you say in this letter how I'm an idiot? I want a review of their decision, and I'm going to request a hearing, Mr. Luker. I have a right to see you in person. But you're making these things in here that I'm threatening you? Mr. Lynn Luker, I am not threatening you. I'm just saying I have a right to come and talk to you and ask you questions in regards to this stuff. I'm going to file my appeal also to the Supreme Court in regards to your ineffective assistance of counsel, which I already thought had been filed. But as you say that I say that, that everybody's, well, it is kind of. But, it's the documents that I have in my possession that's just beating the hell out of you guys. Mr. Lynn Luker, you think I'm going to let this shit slide? You're attacking me, man. Unfortunately, you're a legislator, man. You know what? You can go ahead and be corrupt all you want, but you're not going to corrupt my life. Again, yes, I hired you, and I have a letter to prove it, Mr. Lynn Luker. Why don't you prove me otherwise? Because I've got you, Mr. Lynn Luker. That's what it is. That's what it is. You say in here how at oral argument on June 5th, 2013, how it was so tense, how there were guards all over the place, or you're pretty good storyteller, because why are they so tense over there, Mr. Luker? Is it because I've been to the governor's office to show them the altered documents? I've confronted everybody because I am outspoken. Is there a law that says that I can't be outspoken? I can't speak about how there is corruption, how you're corrupt? Mr. Lynn Luker, I'm going to come to Boise. It's not a threat, but I'm going to come to Boise, and I want you to answer to these questions, Mr. Lynn Luker, because I'm sitting over here in Idaho, you bet. I mean, over here in Vancouver, Washington, you bet I did try to move forward, because it took them a year to even do their findings of facts. But when I moved over here 5 days later, they did it. That's because they didn't have the nerve to do it while I was over there. You all tried to screw me because I moved over here. Well, it didn't work, did it? Because I've been over there. I've filed a CD with the governor's office. Why don't anybody ask anybody? And why don't you go ask the state, the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall? They have the same video that I presented to the governor's office or to the Capitol. Because when I've done a return to kind of like check in on things, well, yeah, well, anyway, we know how that works, don't we? Governor Otter, what's going on? Do I need to contact the mayor? Is the mayor higher than the governor? I don't know, man. I didn't have to know all this shit, but I'm learning. Mr. Lynn Luker, you're going to answer this. This ain't a threat. I have never threatened you. But that letter, those are lies, man. When you say that I have threatened you, you're attacking me again, Mr. Lynn Luker. You are attacking who I am and who I was. Before you came into my life, I was doing fine. And then what you did after you took over my case for 11 months after I did it for 2 years, Mr. Lynn Luker, just because you sat up there and I have to sit down here with this injury that I can no longer do to make a living, but they're taking it off of their doctors that you wouldn't defend for me, saying that, oh yeah, I got this, and I don't have PTSD related to my accident. 7 months after my accident, when they sent me to a doctor, after they've been lying to the commission, I tell you all this, Lynn Luker, and you don't do nothing. And when I keep asking you, oh, don't worry, I gotta wait for them to respond. Like, because when you wrote a letter to the commission in February of 2010, saying if there is anything set, please hold it at least for 10 days out until after legislation, and at least 10 days after legislation is over? What did you do in that time? Nothing. I want these answered, Mr. Lynn Luker, and I hear that you've been involved in a lot of the things that have been done in legislation, like under the judicial rules. You guys have revised some things, like how things are taken under oath because Ms. Jewel Owens lied under oath in her deposition. So now you guys have revised it now to where certain things have got to be signed, or somebody's got to be there to do whatever. Well, where does that fall on my behalf now that that's being changed now? And what about how attorneys are paid, Mr. Lynn Luker? You're also involved in that one, and you're also involved in some other ones with the judicial. That when it comes down to really my case, like how complaints are filed now, how they're treated when they are filed before the Industrial Commission. Well, geez, is that because and then how many commissioners are set on? Is that because of Mr. Donahue? Because his findings of facts and conclusions of law, which are lies? And you state that you didn't know that I had hired an attorney previous to you? Mr. Lynn Luker, you were part of the Get Your Law office. What the hell do you mean? You're lying in this. I found out also that you work for the Get Your Law office, which is the same law firm which Roger Brown works at, which, the Industrial Commission put in their findings of facts and conclusions of law that I'd fired. But I got a letter from them stating otherwise. So again, Mr. Lynn Luker, who also worked for the same law firm that the Industrial Commission is accusing me of firing this attorney from, which I never did, which was a lie, which I could prove. Now, who's really the idiot, Mr. Lynn Luker? Answer these questions for me so I can move forward. Pay me the $1.2 million that you have posted in here, Mr. Lynn Luker. The $1.2 million, because $797,000 of it is the one that you put together. I only added on the S&W Act. That brought it up to the $1.2 million, Mr. Lynn Luker. Lynn Luker, what about that letter I wrote to you on December 27th of 2010? Huh? Who's laughing now, Mr. Lynn Luker? Who will be laughing? I won't be laughing, because I still got to try to pick up the pieces that you guys have torn apart.